You may have heard somewhere that money doesn't buy happiness, and they're not exactly wrong. I think what's closer to the truth is that having money isn't everything, but not having money is. When you don't have money, it becomes a source of much pain, frustration, and anger. It consumes your life and becomes a present problem at all times. When we don't have money, every problem seems to revolve around it. And while being rich doesn't solve all the problems in your life, having some money to fulfill your dreams seems like a valid solution. When you become financially free, you won't make all decisions based solely on money anymore. You won't take a job just because it pays better. You won't need to look at the price of organic groceries to make sure you can afford them. You won't need to spend 3 years saving up for a 7-day trip. Imagine being in a place where you never have to worry about money again. And maybe it's not that far away. Imagine a place where money wasn't the main goal of your life. The steps to get there are simple, but they won't happen overnight. It will require some sacrifices and a lot of dedication. So stay tuned. Let's get started. Step 1. Have an emergency fund. Save $1,000 and put them in an emergency fund that you'll only use in extreme need. In one of Dave Ramsey's programs, someone said they literally put their emergency fund in a frame with the words, "break the glass in case of emergency." But it's worth noting that emergencies do not include money for beer, vacations, or even clothes for a wedding. This money should only be used if and when the situation gets really tough. When your car breaks down, when you need to replace the water heater, basically when your life would otherwise be completely derailed, only in these cases should you resort to the emergency fund. Why create an emergency fund? Because we should always be prepared for the worst possible scenario. So instead of borrowing money from your family or the bank and getting into even more debt, you'll have this emergency fund to save you. One of the main positives is that the emergency fund starts to give you the feeling of financial freedom. So this is the first step to start regaining control of your life. Step 2. Pay off your debts first. About 80% of American adults are in debt, and we simply accept it as normal. Maybe you bought things you didn't need to furnish an apartment, or bought a new car when you could have bought used. One of the biggest problems with debt is that it restricts your monthly income. So when you're paying $500 to $700, even more, on your mortgage, student loans, or car payment, it severely restricts the amount of money you can save. Another thing I'll say is that you'll save thousands of dollars in interest if you can pay off your loans more quickly. Let's say you have $100,000 in loans at a 5% interest rate for a term of 20 years. If you only pay the minimum throughout the loan period, you'll end up giving the bank over $158,000. So what's the best way to pay off your debts earlier? There are a few approaches on how to do this. One option is called the debt snowball. It takes into account human behavior. By focusing on the smallest loan first, we're able to pay it off more quickly, which helps motivate us to pay off other loans. Or you can tackle the high-interest loans first. By the numbers, the smarter decision is to attack the highest interest rate first and then tackle them one by one, but it can be a bit more challenging depending on your current situation. I recommend you organize all your debts in a spreadsheet. Open your spreadsheet once a day and simulate how it would be to pay off some of these debts. Choose one of the ways I recommended earlier to attack the smallest or the largest debts, and then start paying them off one by one. Each debt paid off will push you and motivate you even more. You'll start to feel that there's a light at the end of the tunnel and that eventually you'll be able to pay all of this off. Before continuing, please comment on what you think of the video so far, and if you have any video ideas you'd like to see here on Time to Invest, feel free to leave us your suggestion. Step 3. Create a safety reserve. What would it be like to have 6 to 12 months of expenses in your bank account all the time? Imagine the kind of freedom and stability you would have, knowing that if you got injured, lost your job, or couldn't find clients anymore, you'd be taken care of for the foreseeable future. That's why having a safety reserve is so important. Create a spreadsheet and tally up all your monthly expenses: rent, groceries, internet, insurance, leisure expenses, phone bill, etc. Then multiply that number by 6 months to get your first safety reserve goal. The next goal after that would be to achieve 12 months of reserve. This number now becomes your baseline. It's like an extended emergency fund. Step 4. Start a retirement fund. Retirement funds are one of those things you know you should do but haven't yet, but eventually you'll get there, but probably never will. Personal finances often involve making short-term sacrifices for long-term gains. By saving a little each year, you'll be able to prepare for a dignified retirement. First, compound interest is amazing, and here's why. If you have $10,000 and then over a year, that money is making more money because you're investing in stocks and such, and then you have more money at the end of the year, the next year you're earning more money on top of that money, and the next year you're earning even more. Now, this is long-term. We're not talking about a 5-year period. So when you invest long-term, you're not checking your account every day, every 2 days. You're putting your money in, making sure everything's adjusted, and then you're checking maybe in 6 months, maybe in a year, but you're not stressing out every time the stock market gets unstable. When 2008 came, many people lost money, but if you're investing long-term, that won't matter at all because in 30 years, you'll eventually recoup your money. Step 5. Set short, medium, and long-term goals. After creating your emergency reserve, paying off your debts, and starting your retirement fund, it's time to set specific goals for your financial future. This involves identifying short-term goals, which can be achieved within a period of 1 to 2 years, medium-term from 3 to 5 years, and long-term 6 years and beyond. To establish your goals, reflect on what you want to achieve financially in different aspects of life, such as buying a house, traveling, investing in education, or starting a business. After identifying these objectives, set realistic deadlines and quantify how much money will be needed to achieve them. With clear goals in mind, you can create an action plan to save and invest according to each objective. Regularly monitor your progress and make adjustments as necessary to ensure you are on the right path to achieving your financial dreams. Remember to celebrate your accomplishments along the way, always keeping focus on building a solid and satisfying financial future. Please conduct your research before investing, read, and make decisions based on your life circumstances. This is not a definitive plan. If you can't tolerate so much risk, or would feel safer with a $5,000 emergency fund from the start, then do so. Or perhaps you can handle the extra risk and decide, I don't want to build 6 months of reserve. I really want to start investing in my future and retirement right now. Then do that. Personally, I liked the idea of paying off my debts first and then moving on to my retirement fund. But for many people, if you can't pay off your debts as quickly, you may want to start your retirement fund now. Once you have a solid emergency fund, paid off your debts, increased your bank account with reserves, and started your retirement fund, you are on your way to financial freedom, and it won't be necessary to finish your retirement fund to finally realize that having money isn't everything. Today's video was a more technical subject, but very important, and it took a lot of work to create it for you. So if you liked it, we ask that you show your appreciation by liking this video so that it reaches more people who need this content. If you're not already subscribed, don't waste any time and subscribe now. Thank you very much to those who watched this far. See you in the next video.